The Royal Guard, also known as Squad Zero or the Zero Division, is an elite group of Shinigami composed of 5 Royal Guard captains. They make their debut appearance within chapter 516 of Bleach's 1000-Year Blood War arc. Unlike the rest of the Shinigami who reside in the Soul Society, the Royal Guard reside within the Royal Palace, or as it's also known as, the Soul King's Palace. This palace is divided into the Greater Palace and 5 surrounding detached halls, which belong to one of the Royal Guard captains. Our first glimpse of the Royal Palace happens in chapter 519 when Ichigo is taken there for special training. The palace itself exists far above the skies of the Soul Society, and it's located within an enclosed spatial sphere. In this video, I'll be explaining everything that there is to know about the Royal Palace, including all of the key structures that exist there. Each member of the Royal Guard has their own respective palace here, and it serves a unique function. Additionally, the Soul King is housed in a separate structure known as the Citadel. Now be sure to stick around until the very end of this video, as I'll be discussing the different transportation methods that exist in order to access the Royal Palace, along with the defense mechanisms that are being put in place to protect it from enemy invasion. So without further delay, here is my complete breakdown and explanation of the realm of the Royal Palace. We got really tired of the same old boring anime shirts, so we decided to launch Getsuga.com with the aim of creating designs inspired by our favorite anime and manga. We came up with designs that look cool and represent all of our favorite stories. Check out the latest Instinct collection, which features some amazing designs like this Frosted Heavens design inspired by Toshiro Hitsugaya, or this Instinct design inspired by Hollow Ichigo, and my personal favorite, which is the Heart design, which was inspired by Ukiura Shifa. Do not miss out, go to Getsuga.com and wear your favorite stories. In chapter 519, we see the Royal Palace for the first time. Tenjiro Korinji explains to Ichigo that while the term Royal Palace refers to their entire surrounding environment, the specific location where they are standing is actually called the Royal Palace Approach. This is the initial pathway leading to the Greater Palace. The Soul King resides in a separate area known as the Greater Palace, a floating cocoon-shaped castle. Surrounding the Royal Palace are 5 disc-like structures referred to as the Royal Guard's detached halls, and each of these halls belong to a member of the Zero Division. Kiryu Hikifune reveals that the Soul King has granted each member of the Zero Division their own personal town to govern, and this is located beneath their respective palaces. Upon arriving at the Royal Palace, Ichigo questions Ichi Bay about how they were able to enter here without using the Oken, also known as the Royal Key or the King's Key. The Oken is the sole method of entry to the Royal Palace. Ichi Bay explains that the Oken refers to the very bones of the members of Squad Zero. Their bones are transformed into a part of the Oken by the power of the Soul King when they are chosen for their respective positions. Within the Bleach Can't Be Your Own World light novels, Ichi Bay reveals to Shunsui that despite most of the Royal Guard being killed by Yhwach in the Schutzstaffel, they were able to revive themselves. Ichi Bay explains that when they converted their bones to Oken, their spiritual powers became fused with the spiritual pulse which flows from their respective detached halls. So the very existence of the Zero Division members is intricately linked to the Royal Palace. In chapter 518, Ichigo is initially confused as he tries to understand where the members of the Zero Division reside. Shinji clarifies that they live within the Soul King's Palace, and Shunsui provides further context by referencing Ichigo's first arrival within the Soul Society. He explains that the walls of the Serete, also known as the 4 Great Pure Soul Gates, had fallen from the sky at that time. These gates are constructed from a special stone called Seki Seki. However, due to the challenging circumstances, these walls have remained in place indefinitely. Shunsui hints that under normal conditions, these walls are actually intended to protect the Royal Palace. Later, in the 1000-Year Blood War arc, we learn that the Royal Palace is shielded by 72 spiritual barriers. In chapter 585, as Yhwach prepares to invade the Royal Palace, he thanks Ichigo for clearing the way for him. Through Yhwach's exchange exchange with Ichigo, it's revealed that the outfit that Ichigo is wearing is made from the bones and hair of the Zero Division members. This special outfit created by Sanjummaru possesses extraordinary resistance and defensive capabilities, thus allowing Ichigo to penetrate the 72 barriers that exist between the Serite and the Royal Palace. Due to Ichigo's journey from the Royal Palace to the Serite, these barriers cannot be resealed for another 6,000 seconds, or in other words 1 hour and 40 minutes. Additionally, the Royal Palace is guarded by a group of soldiers known as the Divine Soldiers, and they are led by Sanjummaru. These soldiers are also referred to as the Blade of the Soul King. When these soldiers are defeated, Sanjummaru can summon an enhanced version known as Second Class Divine Soldiers, which further boosts the defense of the Royal Palace. After Yhwach absorbs Mimihagi and the Soul King, he transforms the Royal Palace into a new area called Warwal. This becomes the short-lived new headquarters of the Quincy, and it's constructed from the ruins of Silburn, and it's placed on top of the Royal Palace. Within the Can't Fear Unworld light novels, it's revealed that if Yhwach had not been defeated, even the last remnants of the Royal Palace would have vanished entirely. Interestingly, the light novels confirm that despite the disappearance of the entire Zero Division, Ichi Bay would have still remained. This might be linked to Ichigo calling out Ichi Bay's name in chapter 612, which most likely had a huge influence on his survival. Now, there are two known methods for gaining entry into the Royal Palace. The first method is by obtaining permission from the Royal Guard, and in this case, the Zero Division members only need to have the desire for the individual to enter for this to work. The second method is more complex, and it involves the manual creation of an Oken, similar to what Aizen had attempted during the Arrancar arc. The Oken can be created through a spiritual technique which involves the sacrifice of half a spirit mile radius of a highly concentrated spirit area like Karakura Town, along with the souls of its 100,000 inhabitants. This explains why Aizen was so determined to sacrifice Karakura Town. Now, transportation within the Royal Palace is unique, with only one known method to move between the different cities within it. This involves being launched into the sky from a platform, as seen when Ichigo and Renji are repeatedly blasted into the air during their journey. The comical sequences of Ichigo and Renji being constantly shocked by the chaotic way that they are transported adds a bit of a lighter tone to the story. Kurinji did humorously warn Ichigo that he could die if he were to move during the transportation process. In order to travel outside of the Royal Palace and reach the Soul Society, there are specific methods available. One such method is by using a device known as the Tenshuren, which is a transportation carrier used by the Zero Division to descend from and ascend to the Royal Palace. The cannon of Kukakushiba located within a residence is used to return the Tenshuren to the Royal Palace. This is how Ichigo, Ganju, Chad and Orihime travel back to the Royal Palace to confront Yhwach. In chapter 538, Nimaya uses a device called the Chokaimon in order to send Ichigo to and from the world of the living. One of Nimaya's assistants explains that the Chokaimon only functions if a specific return time is set in advance, thus ensuring that travel is carefully controlled. The first city within the Royal Palace that we'll explore is the domain of Ichi Bay, and this is the central structure known as Riden. It is located at the top of a mountain, and it resembles a traditional training dojo. The concentration of spirit particles in the air here is notably irregular. In chapter 545, Ichi Bay mentions that when Rukia and Renji first arrived, they struggled to move due to the dense spiritual pressure in the atmosphere. The anime expands on this by showing exclusive scenes of Ichigo training in a secret area within Ichi Bay's palace known as Irazu Sando, which translates to unenterable shrine path. Access to this sacred area is granted solely by the Soul King. The anime exclusive scenes of Ichigo training within Irazu Sando take on a very metaphysical tone. This is where he experiences visions of the primordial world during his training, as he sees glimpses of the Soul King's past. Now next we have Sanjummarus Palace, which remains unnamed, and we only get a glimpse of one of its inner rooms. This room is entirely draped in fabrics, and during their training, Renji, Rukia, Byakuya and Ichigo each had to have their measurements taken here, and this was done so that Sanjummaru could create new Shihakusho for them, which was woven using the Oken. Nimaya's palace, known as Hoden, stands out from the other Zero Division member estates. Unlike the others, we actually meet the members of Nimaya's elite guard who reside within his palace. The Hoden initially appears as a luxurious mansion called the Galaxy Hoden, and we quickly see that it's the host to very extravagant gatherings. In chapter 523, Nimaya reveals that all of the women that Renji and Ichigo encountered within the Galaxy Hoden were in fact humanized Zanpakuto spirits. However, the real Hoden is a very modest wooden shack, and it's located on the edge of a cliff, overlooking a vast ocean. Within the Can't Be Your Own World light novels, it's revealed that a primordial, legendary hollow called Ikomiki Domoe is sealed within a Zanpakuto located within a sword storehouse in Nimaya City. This storehouse was once hidden beneath the ocean, but after Ichigo's Zanpakuto was reforged, much of the ocean ended up evaporating, thus leaving the storehouse exposed. Next we have Kirinden, and this is the main building within Tenjiro Kurinji's city. This is where Ichigo, Renji, Rukia and Byakuya go to heal their wounds. In chapter 519 we see that this area is largely underground and it consists of hot springs with powerful healing properties. Many fans theorize that Urahara may have visited Kirinden in the past, as this was the inspiration that he had used to create his very own secret training area beneath Urahara shop, as well as the hot springs that Ichigo and Yoruichi used during Ichigo's Bankai training in the Soul Society arc. Following this, we have Kiryu Hikifune City, which is called Gatonden, and we see this within chapter 521. Kiryu explains that her estate is essentially a temple of food. During their time here, Ichigo and Renji consume a wide variety of dishes which are infused with Reiatsu. Now this is because Kiryu is credited with the invention of the artificial soul, a concept that allows a person to absorb foreign spiritual pressure in order to enhance their power. Kiryu reveals that the food that Renji and Ichigo consumed was designed using the concept of the artificial soul pill, or the Gikongan. Something that I really enjoyed about the 1000-Year Blood War arc was the opportunity to explore brand new locations within the Soul Society. We delved into the unique features and functions of each palace within the Royal Palace, and hopefully this has deepened your understanding and appreciation for the realm that the Zero Division members reside within. Seeing all of these different locations is a testament to Kubo's talent for architectural design, and it really does shine through all of these very different settings that he has created, and it definitely adds another layer of depth to the world building of Bleach. We've now reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What are your guys' thoughts about the Royal Palace and the different cities that exist within it? Was there anything about the Royal Palace that I've forgotten to mention? Please do let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments, and lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I can't wait to see you in my next Bleach Explained video. A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.